All right, y'all, welcome back to the Rhythm Zone, where we do not guess here. We follow the data. We got this card with some mismatches. We got some fighters with no grappling. A lot of value right here. We got some fake favorites, some bloated lines out here. So I'm here to break this all down for you, give you my confidence in the zones. We got the green zone, yellow zone, orange zone, prop zone, and then we ended off with the lock of the week, the lock zone. I'm excited for this card. Without further ado though, let's get into this, all right? Before I share these zones with you, make sure if you haven't already, go follow me at RHYTHMBETZ on Instagram, TikTok, Discord, Juice Reels as well. If you want to talk any business, if you like the beat you're hearing, go ahead, message me at rhythmbetzllc@gmail.com. I'm also starting a private Snapchat channel, and I'm also going to be starting a Telegram as well, where I'll be getting more in depth, posting actual bets. I'm planning on having it be like a $9 a month subscription service, so it'll be a little easier than the Juice Reels. You do have to pay for Juice Reels as the app, so I understand, not a lot of people want to do that. So we'll be switching over to Telegram here soon. Just stick with me as we get through these improvements, all right? Without further ado, let's get into the green zone, all right? I want to start off with Alexa Thayanara and why she's here. I don't think this is a fight. I think this is going to be a grappling clinic here. She gets 3.91 takedowns per 15 minutes. That's almost 4. She has a 60% accuracy with 100% takedown defense, and she's almost giving out 2 submission attempts per fight at 1.7. So pretty active in the grappling. I think she decides where this fight goes. I think she controls every minute, and I think she's actively hunting finishes. Bruna Brazil has really not a big grappling answer. She has low volume and not as good defense. I think this is a you go where I want type of fight. I honestly think Thayanara can get this job done inside the distance. So, at that minus, 530 price tag, that's a little hefty, but I think it's accurate. I don't think she's overpriced. I think that's pretty accurate there. So, submissions very live, knockouts live. Really, really messing with that one right there. That's why Alexa Thayanara is here. And then next up, we're gonna get next into this with a big dog that not a lot of people are looking at. We got Tofik Musayev. He's coming at that plus 220. See a lot of value there. It's not the 100% fact that I think, oh, he's going out there, he's gonna win. But at that price tag, you can't pass that up. He's going against Ignacio Bahamondes. I think, Bahamondes has great striking, but where's his grappling defense at? I mean, he gets took. He gets took down to the ground. Put on his back. So Musayev has 9.82 takedown attempts per fight. He's going to be pressuring those takedowns if Ignacio and Bahamondes doesn't get him out of here. This is not just, he's not just a wrestler. It's pressure wrestling. A lot of people cannot handle that, especially these taller, lengthier fighters sometimes. Obviously, if they have a good enough game plan, they can feel like a Michael Venom Page. You could try to, take away someone's pressure with a lot of jabs and things like that. But I don't know. I really like Musayev at that plus 220. That's why he made the green zone. I think this is a good dog pick to row with. Maybe a spread play or something of that nature. This is just a striker versus grappler. And the thing is, Ignacio Bahamondes, I don't see his grappling defense. I can see where Musayev has some striking defense, and Musayev's first loss in the UFC was to Mitabek Oroblack, which we all know he is just a outstanding elite grappler and wrestler. And so that style clashed with him. Now he has a different style here. He has his ability to not have to worry. He's the wrestler here. So I think this is a great matchup for him. I put in an early money line on Musayev. So I wanted to catch him at that 220. Hopefully, it doesn't really matter now. I got it in. So if that line moves, even better for me. But yeah, I don't think this is just a dog here. This is just a mispriced fighter. I think he should be a little lower than the plus, but we'll take that plus 220. All right. Next up, we got Macy Barber at that minus 158 price tag, taking on Alexa Grasso. She was not in the green zone originally. She was not. She was in the yellow zone, but I moved her up. She has 4.61 strikes per minute compared to Alexa Grasso's 4.11. She has a 53% accuracy compared to Alexa Grasso's 41% accuracy. She just has better pressure, better physicality. Grasso's technical, but Barbara's just more aggressive, more damaging, and more consistent over 3 rounds, I think. And she's just, the slightly younger fighter here and the little bit less miles. I think that speed's going to show here. I think minus 158 is a pretty good value. I don't think that's too bad. If it was a little lower, I wouldn't be disagreeing either. Any higher, that's where I would get a little shifty. So yeah, I'll take Macy Barber at that minus 158 price tag. I think it's pretty solid. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Like I said, it's not the technical skills. It's just the physicality, the speed. That's what's going to win her this fight. Last but not least, we got Yusri Belgari. He had a great performance in his last outing versus Azamat Bukayev. This is kind of another same sort of stylistic matchup, but I would say with a better pressure grappler, more athletic fighter. The gas tank might not be as well, but I think, this is he's in the green zone for the value. You see a 6'7", striker training with Alex Pereira at that plus 100 with a guy in Abdul Mansur Malik, who he is looking very good, but I'm excited to see how he looks versus a tall, lengthy striker who is shown to be able to put out some grappling defense. So he has a 66% striking accuracy, 61 defense. That's pretty clean, efficient striking right there. Abdul Malik is definitely the more complete fighter. He has a grappling upside. But if this fight stays standing, if it's not just a lay and pray or, a possible submission attempt from Malik, I think Belgori has W all written all over him. I think he gets around here. This is another, maybe mess with a spread play, mess with a later round win, second, third round, him pulling one off. If, hopefully it doesn't get finished. This is the most dangerous early for him. The longer it goes, I think he's in a lot better shoes. This is just a high level striking. I'm putting my faith in that. That's why he's in the green zone right now. So definitely look for a prop, him to get the more strikes off. I believe Malik's going to be looking to get this fight to the ground. If he doesn't get it there, Bulgari's a live dog here. That's our green zone. If you tapped in with us last week, you seen I pretty much did a clean sweep on all the zones. Every one of them hit, including the dogs. Nathaniel Wood really came through right there for that. We had one fight fall through with I had Melissa Mullins winning that. Her opponent didn't make weight. But yeah, last week was a pretty good week as far as the rhythm zone, as far as the bets as well. We ate on the card, got up like 9.5 units. So now let's get in to the yellow zone. All right. So today we only got 3. We only got 3 guys in the yellow zone. One guy, one fighter got removed. We won't talk about that, but I'm gonna tell you why these guys are in the yellow zone. This is strong, but there's some variables involved with these fights that does worry me a little bit. But let's just start off with Izzy. Let's start off with Israel Adesanya at that minus 130 price tag now. I think people overthinking this fight. He has, 4 strikes per minute, 48% accuracy, 55% defense, and most importantly, he has a 76% takedown defense. Joe Pyfer, I think when it comes to the straight grappling part, that's what he needs. He needs the grappling. Yes, he has his big power. Joe Pyfer's looking good. Yes. His best win's Abisab Magomedov. It's his best win. And now he's fighting a former champion who's only lost to contenders, Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis, and Nasruddin Imavov. Those are his only losses. Imavov is ready for the title. Dricus had it. Strickland is ready for it too. These are, he just went and finished fluffy. I know Adesanya got choked out by Dricus in one, and then he got knocked out by Imavov. But he was looking good in that first round. So he's on the yellow zone, but I'm very weary. But I do have some confidence in him. I think his striking is just levels above Joe Pyfer. And I think it's a little blinding to see, just because of what Joe Pyfer's been doing lately. I think it's hard to remember Israel Adesanya striking. But, I have some faith that he gets this done. I have some faith that he gets this done here. We're looking at like a decision or something like that. But I think if he plays things safe, keeps his distance control, doesn't get cornered, and looks to, show that he's not worried about the takedowns, that he can defend them well, I think this fight's all his as long as he, keeps his feints going, keeps Joe Pyfer back, lets Joe Pyfer, get a little confident and go in, utilize those counters, but don't. It's a scary game that Israel Adesanya has, but I'm not going to spend too much more time on him. I could go off all day about this fight and my worries and my pros and cons and confidence, all that stuff. But yeah, he's here. Definitely Joe Pyfer's a threat. If he can stick to the game plan, this is all his, sort of with the same, Yusri Bulgari type of deal. Keep this fight standing. I think it's all his, honestly. All right, next up, we got Casey O'Neill at that -102 price tag. She's taking on Gabriela Fernandez. This is a pace mismatch in my eyes. Okay. This is a pace mismatch. Gabriela Fernandez has 7.89 strikes per minute right there. That's almost 8 strikes a minute. She's putting out volume, constant pressure, and she does throw in a little bit of grappling. She throws in some level changes every here and there to keep her opponents guessing. Casey O'Neill kind of loses to regular girls, but beats good ones. Gabriela Fernandez is a good one. And Gabriela Fernandez is kind of on the same pace. She loses to who and beats people like Wayne Kong. I want to say she beat Carly Judice as well or something like that. So 2 decent names, but Fernandez is not built for the pace that Casey O'Neill is ready to bring. And I think at even money, she's a steal. I think a straight bet on that, a unit on that will never hurt. But yeah, we won't spend too much time on that one either. But yeah, I think that's a good spot. 102. I think she's very live to cover spread or take this by decision, continue a pace, outstrike Gabriela Fernandez, not be threatened on the ground. So it's good. This is a good look for her, good position. All right, and last but not least in the yellow zone, we got Ricky Simón. Simple, all right? This is a control spot. At first, I had Yanez winning, but then you come to find out Simon's getting 4.66 takedowns every 15 minutes. That's almost 5 takedowns in 15 minutes. Yanez doesn't have grappling defense. If Ricky Simón gets this to the ground, it's all his. If he can control and sit there and get ground and pound shots for 3 rounds, this fight is all his. If he wrestles, though, he is a dog. He does like to get in some bloody battles every here and there. So if he can stick to his game plan, I think he can win this. If he strikes, I think he's getting chinned. I think Yanez knocks him out. This fight's about true discipline right here. Can Ricky Simón stay safe on the feet and mix in the wrestling just enough to keep Yanez either guessing and worried or follow through, get these takedowns? I think the fight's all his. So Yanez has 0 grappling defense. This is just a, one guy doesn't have the defense, another guy doesn't have the chin. I think his wrestling compared to Yanez's striking is a little bit better. So let's hope he just follows on to that. Yanez is the live dog though, so don't sleep on that as far as a pick. But yeah, no, this is the yellow zone. I like these guys in their positions. I think if they follow through on their game plans and really execute, the win is theirs. All right. So now let's move on into the orange zone. All right. I know you're probably looking at one of these picks up here thinking, whoa, we'll get to that. All right. We're going to start off with Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney is chaos. T-Rex. All right. He's the first round phenomenon. He's either going in or going out on that first round. All right. But he averages 3.34 takedowns and 2.1 submission attempts every 15 fights, but 43% striking defense, very hittable, questionable durability. This is a killer get killed matchup right here. So it's willing, what do you want to put that on? That -178, little high. I think it's a little high for how likely he always is to get finished in the first round. Now he is going against Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson's not really on the same level as far as that dangerous first round type of guy. He's a dangerous fighter, but he doesn't put that pace on like McKinney does in the first round. That's why McKinney's here in the orange zone. I think he gets the job done. I think he does. But Kyle Nelson's good. But yeah, I think McKinney, I think he's live for a sub here. I think he's very live to get that job done in the sub. Be wary betting on McKinney. If you watch him, you know the deal. All right, next up, this is probably the one you guys are all worried about. You're all looking at crazy. Got Lance Gibson Jr. Now, he just lost to Bobby Green. I understand that. He was a well-rounded spy. He took the fight on short notice. He looked good. He had moments in that fight. That was a very close fight. And this is Bobby Green that we're talking about. He's just no walk in the park just because he's gotten knocked out by some, higher level guys. This guy is, he's taking on Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper got slimed out by Alexander Hernandez. His best win is who? Jim Miller? Gibson Jr.'s not an old guy. He's younger. He's around Chase Hooper's age. He's hungry. He had one fight versus a high-level fighter. I think this spot's here for him. He has a little output, a little less consistent. I think if he goes out there and he has this perfect fight, the win's his. It's hard to trust Chase Hooper after, losing to a younger, well-rounded guy. I actually cashed in on that. I had Alex Hernandez on a parlay. That was the one dog right there, and it hit. And I think this happens again. I just Chase Hooper versus a younger, well-rounded guy coming into the UFC, who is a wrestler, who is a grappler at heart. He is a grappler. I don't see Chase Hooper being able to utilize those weapons that well. I think Gibson has some power in those hands too. Obviously couldn't get the job done versus Bobby Green, but again, late, short notice fight versus a pretty good fighter in the UFC, a long time journeyman. Gibson needs to fight his perfect fight, execute that game plan. This fight's all his, but he's in the orange zone because Chase Hooper is an elite grappler. The subs always lie for that guy, so definitely think about that. Kind of went out on a limb on that one, but yeah. All right, but next up, the next two. Navajo Sterling, the reason why he's here, I think he's overvalued. Minus 440 is crazy. There's some books, he's like a minus 500. Wild. He's great. He's really good. But let me tell you something. Bruno Lopez, 100% takedown defense. That takes away Sterling's grappling. I think with that, he's, yes, do I think he's going to win? Hell yeah. Sterling will win. That's going to be my prediction, obviously. But the minus 440, I think, is just a little overpriced. That's why he's on the orange zone. Because as far as, putting your money, throwing him on a parlay, you got some better picks that you can mess with. You got better props than just a money line Navajo Sterling here. So that's why he's here. I'm not going to sit here and try to, convince you he can lose or anything. I don't think it happens. But do I think he's a minus 440? And yeah, last but not least, we got Lyrian Douglas. He's a minus 320 again. This is just an overpriced line. Julian Rosa is not bad. He's not bad. I know Douglas looks really good, but Julian Rosa ain't bad. I don't think he's that bad to make Douglas a minus 320 favorite. Douglas doesn't have grappling defense. He doesn't have grappling, Arosa has takedowns. Arosa has a submission threat. If this fight gets to the ground, this could be trouble. Douglas he has to knock him out. And Arosa's shown to be tough. He has shown to be tough. He has shown to keep moving forward even when getting hit. He has shown to have tides change. He had a really good fight. I want to say it was Melquizael Acosta, where Melquizael put it on him in those, first round and a half. And then slowly but surely, Arosa started kind of, turning the tides. He lost, but now you got a newer guy coming into the UFC taking on someone like Arosa with that pressure. So minus 320, I don't like that. I would go ahead and fade those two, Sterling and Douglas. If you want to go ahead and throw them on a parlay, be my guest. You're gonna be sweating though. Maybe not the Sterling, but the Douglas one. I don't think he's well-rounded enough versus a guy like Julian Erosa to be a minus 320. That's why he made the orange zone. But again, you do what you want. All right, now we're going to get into the prop zone. All right, now I'll read these off and we'll just talk a little bit about these. First off, we got McKinney versus Nelson. If you know McKinney, he's a first round in or out type of fighter. So it's not even the fact of, hey, you want to stay away from playing around with McKinney. You don't trust him. Go under 1.5. Nelson might finish him in the first round too. If it makes it to the second round in the first 2 minutes, McKinney's going to be done. So I really like that under 1.5 line right there. And then we got Thayanara, Alexia and Thayanara inside the distance. I had said this earlier. I think she gets this job done in a crazy fashion. I think she shows levels versus Bruno Brazil. I don't think Bruno Brazil is that good. I want to say Bruno Brazil absorbs more strikes than she gives. Her grappling defense ain't that good. She's been there with the fighting nerds, working, but it's just I don't think she's that good. I think Thayanara destroys her. Now we got Adesanya by decision, all right? I really like the prop. I really like that. I think if the fight goes long, it goes after a couple rounds, I think it is live for Adesanya. He has the 5-minute experience. I think he plays it safe these first couple rounds. Plays it real safe. He has 5 rounds to play with. Don't make the mistake you made versus Mamov. Don't stand in front of Pyfer. Keep it moving. Keep your leg kicks going. Keep your feints. Keep them away. I think Adesanya by decision is live if he sticks to those. Now we got O'Neal versus Fernandez over 2.5. I think the pace of O'Neal, and I want to say it's like a minus 300 or something, but I think that hits. I think that pace, I think Fernandez is going to be looking to get this fight to the ground. It's going to be a big thing. O'Neal's not going to be able to let off all the strikes he wants due to maybe some fence time, things like that. I think this for sure goes over 2.5. It's a ladies' fight. It's like 80% of ladies' fights go. So, you do the math. If, it's 80% at a minus 300, take it. If it's 80% and it's like minus 400, 500, yeah, stay away from that shit. But definitely going over 2.5, I think. And then last but not least, we got Ricky Simón. I think he gets 3 takedowns. If this fight goes far and Yanez doesn't chin him, I think he gets a takedown in every round. So I really like this line here. Also, I throw in a Musayev money line. I think that's another good prop to throw in there. Not really a prop, but I think Musayev money line for anyone who's tapped into this. I think put a half a unit. Thank me later. That's all I gotta say. All right, and now we're getting into the lock zone. Before we get into the lock zone, like and subscribe. Comment your green zone or yellow zone. Comment your favorite pick of mine or your favorite pick. Comment your props that you're liking for this video. Comment ones that you think are better or that can hit. Help me out. I'm all ears here. I watch a lot of people. I don't just do I do my research, but I watch a lot of people get their insight on things, and that helps me come up with my plays and stuff. So I'm always open ears here. Now it's time to reveal the lock zone. All right. And this week in the lock zone, we got Alexia Dayanara in the lock zone at that minus 530 price tag. Again, guys, this is a system play, elite grappling, full control here, submission upside. She's going to dictate where the fight goes. Shout out, we got the first female in the lock zone here. I think this is the biggest mismatch on the card. The odds makers agree. This is just, I think she does what she wants in this fight. I think she bodies Bruno Brazil. Shout out Alexia Dayanara for making the lock zone. Last week we had Montaz contra Vicious. That hit. The week before we had Dante Johnson. That hit. I know these are some wide lines, but you got to go with the people who are almost guaranteed. A lot of other guys aren't guaranteed. I think this is almost a guarantee right here. So Alexia Dayanara, lock zone. She gets the job done. Now, make sure, again, go like, subscribe, follow me on IG, follow me on TikTok, join the Discord, join the Juice Worlds. I'll be opening up a Telegram very soon. If you like the beat, you want to talk any other type of business inquiries, go ahead and message me, RHYTHMBETZ, LLC@gmail.com. If you're betting without structure, you're just donating, man. You're betting, when you're betting to the rhythm, when you're hearing rhythm bets, you're betting with data. We got data analysis on all these fights. I'm digging deep to find these props. We're getting better every week. We're improving not only just the bets, the data, the metrics, the video, everything. Stick with the rhythm, bet to the rhythm. RHYTHMBETZ. This is the Rhythm Zone. Let's get it.